I found protection hidden in my wife's purse, so I added pepper and watched them run. I still remember the day that changed everything. I wasn't looking for trouble. I wasn't snooping. I was just trying to find my wife's car keys in her purse before I left for work. But what I found inside nearly brought my world crashing down. Nestled between her wallet and a pack of gum was something I never expected to see: protection. Not the kind she needed for me, but the kind that screamed of betrayal: condoms. My heart sank, my hands shook, and for the first time in my marriage, I felt like a stranger in my own home. At first, I couldn't move. I stared at the little box, trying to come up with excuses for her. Maybe they weren't hers. Maybe she was holding them for a friend. Maybe, just maybe, there was an innocent explanation. But deep down, I knew. My wife, the woman I had trusted with my heart and soul, was preparing to share herself with someone else. The days leading up to that discovery hadn't been normal either. She had been acting strange, spending extra hours at work, glued to her phone, avoiding my touch. I'd brushed it off, convincing myself I was overthinking. But that box in her purse was proof enough. That night, I barely slept. My mind replayed every smile, every late night excuse, every time she avoided my gaze. Rage burned inside me, but I wasn't going to confront her, not yet. I wanted the truth, and I wanted to expose her for what she was doing behind my back. That's when a plan formed, something both petty and brilliant at the same time. If she was preparing for a secret rendezvous, I was going to give them a night they'd never forget. The next morning, when she left for the gym, I opened her purse again. The box was still there. I carefully took one of the little foil packets, slid it open with precision, and sprinkled finely ground pepper inside. Then I resealed it gently, making sure no one could tell the difference. My hands trembled, but this was my way of taking control, of fighting back silently. Days passed, and she didn't mention a thing. She was colder than ever, often sneaking off to run errands, or meet friends. I knew the day would come when the peppered protection would find its use. And when it did, oh, I'd know. That evening, she dressed up more than usual. Tight dress, heels, perfume that hadn't been for me in months. She claimed she was going to a girls' dinner, but I already knew better. My chest tightened as I watched her leave. I wanted to scream, to demand the truth, but instead, I stayed quiet. I waited. Hours later, just after midnight, she stormed back home. Her hair was a mess, her makeup smudged, and she was furious. She threw her purse on the couch and muttered under her breath. She looked embarrassed, humiliated. Something had gone terribly wrong for her. I stayed calm, pretending to be half asleep on the couch. Rough night? I asked casually. She froze, staring at me with wide eyes. Her lips parted, but no words came out. She knew I knew. The next few days were chaos. She avoided me, avoided conversations, but the tension between us grew unbearable. Then, finally, she broke. One night, she exploded, accusing me of being distant, of not loving her, of driving her to find attention elsewhere. The lies poured out of her mouth like poison, but I didn't let her twist the story. Don't you dare blame me for your choices, I said, my voice trembling with rage and pain. I found them. In your purse. The box. The proof. You think I don't know what you've been doing? I let you walk into your own trap. I knew exactly what you were planning. And I sat here, waiting for the day it blew up in your face. She broke down, sobbing, trying to deny it at first, then finally admitting it all. She had been seeing a coworker. It started as just talking, but quickly escalated. She claimed she never meant to hurt me, but her actions spoke louder than her excuses. I thought about forgiving her. After all, we had years together, memories, a life we built. But then I remembered the pain in my chest when I first saw that box. I remembered the sleepless nights, the humiliation, the betrayal. And I realized, sometimes love can't survive a wound that deep. So I made my choice. I told her to pack her things and leave. She begged, pleaded, promised to change, but I had already found my peace. I deserved better. In the weeks that followed, I found strength I didn't know I had. I rebuilt myself, one step at a time. Friends supported me, family stood by me, and slowly, I rediscovered who I was outside of her lies. Looking back now, I don't regret what I did. Adding pepper wasn't about revenge, it was about exposing the truth. It forced her mask to fall off. It gave me clarity. The lesson I learned is simple but powerful. Trust is fragile. Once broken, it can never be the same. But betrayal doesn't define you, your response does. You can choose bitterness, or you can choose growth. I chose growth. And as for her, well, let's just say she ran out of my life faster than I could have ever imagined.